Hello and welcome to the Gulf Coast Real Estate Insider Podcast. I'm Brett Ellis, joined by my mother Sandy Ellis. And today we want to talk about a potential government shutdown. Now we're filming this the day of September 30th, Tuesday. And we think the government may shut down tonight. So let's talk about how that will impact real estate and how that might impact you. So Sandy, I've got a source here that's got a lot of information. I just thought we'd kind of go through it. And,
Yeah, I've been looking at that too, Brett.
what are you seeing? What stands out to you?
Well, flood insurance for one thing, you know?
Okay, so there's a little bit of good news in this. They can't sell or new or renewal insurance policy, but you can assume a policy. So you want to get your flood insurance now, and I think I've been reading, correct me if you read it this way or not, that as long as the buyer has filled out their application or made their application, which I don't know when the government shuts down if you can actually do that, but let's say you can. It sounds like the banks are going to accept that if they can show proof that they made application and made a payment or something.
Yeah, but I'd have concern about that.
Yes, but what do you do? Let's say I don't think the government's going to be shut down a month, but let's just say it was. You've got to close on October 10th. What would you do? You'd have to do whatever you could to get it closed.
Yeah, well, you know, the thing would be that you still have today to get everything in there that you possibly can, to make application, to have paid the money.
Pay the fee.
Yeah, to do all that. But I would still say that I don't think it'll last that long, but I still think that we'll be finding out. You know, for example, they only keep certain people in these positions that are considered to be, what's the word for that? Key people or whatever. So therefore, they're going to not have as many people available to ask questions, to find out. I think a lot of things can actually stall out, and we might have issues with them. I think the only thing we can definitely say is that somehow we'll work through them. Whatever things we are allowed to do, we'll definitely get those done.
Okay, here's something most people don't think about. When you submit a loan application, the loan company does what they call a verification of employment. If you work for the U.S. government, you're probably not going to get a verification of employment.
Right.
But there's other things, tax transcripts.
Yeah.
So Freddie Mac requires all borrowers to sign what they call a 4506T. It's a tax transcript. And they send that to that government, and the government sends it back and says, yes, this is the amount of income. So if you try to cheat and say, I make $142,000 a year, and they find out you only make $82,000 a year, they're going to find it. They're just going to look at your tax returns. And that's where some people get in trouble. They submit faulty tax returns. So that's kind of mortgage fraud if you do that. But when they verify that out, they may not be able to verify it. But there's some workarounds with that. There's a desktop underwriter verification system. If it gives you the go-ahead, then they don't require that. And others are saying,
But you can't count on that.
like Fannie Mae is saying, as long as we don't have to have this before closing, you just have to do it before they sell the loan. So the person doing the loan is probably going to be judging the borrower and say, look, we're going to get stuck with this loan if everything doesn't seem right. If their credit scores are great, everything's checked out, they've never given us any reason for concern. But you know, how many loans are like that? Most loans, you need a letter of explanation on this, you need your firstborn and thirdborn child, you need
What about the one in between?
you get well, they don't always care about second.
Oh,
but
okay.
you might have to give up your dog. There's a lot of things that they require, so the lender, if they're going to take that risk, may say, are we having a lot of issues or not? I don't know how that's going to work out.
Well, and here's the other thing. Can't you go online today? Say you were thinking of purchasing a home in the next 30 days. Go online today and get a copy of that transcript?
Yes, but what if the people are doing this tomorrow?
Well,
No, you can't go online and get a copy of it. The lender gets that.
I think you can do it also, though, and print a copy of it.
I don't know if they'll accept that, but
I don't know if they would either, but if you were thinking about
now
it,
what
it
about
might be
people
worth a
who
try.
have disputed Social Security numbers? You know, like there's fraud. Someone steals your tax return, or they steal your Social Security number.
Trouble.
You are in trouble.
Yeah.
I think you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
Proof
We're in
of
trouble
flood
in more ways than one, because I don't think they're going to respond during this time frame, and that's a big problem.
Proof of flood insurance coverage. Both Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae require a completed flood insurance application and a copy of the check for the first premium. So there's your workaround there. We were kind of talking about that.
Well, and the other thing is you can get private flood insurance, but the value to the NFIP policy is that it's assumable for another buyer. It can't go up more than 18%
But that's
per
easy.
year.
That's easy to do. We can do assumables during a government shutdown.
We can do assumables, right? Correct.
But if
they
there's not
can't
one
get a new
available,
one.
if there's not available, you can get private temporarily and then go back and get an
Can you
NFIP
do that?
later.
Can you go back later?
Yes, you
Okay.
can.
All right.
The Internal Revenue Service, they have not said how they're going to handle this, but all we know is in the 2018 closure, how they handle things. So there'll be a slowdown definitely at the IRS. U.S. Department of Agriculture. So a lot of people don't realize USDA does loans. Those loans, I think, they're going to stop. They're going to halt issuance of new direct and guaranteed home loans, and any scheduled closings will be postponed. So if you've got a loan in progress with USDA, or you're thinking about doing that, it's probably going to stop until the shutdown's over. That's what I'm taking out of it.
I agree with that. Yeah.
VA. The VA are going to keep approving loans, but there should be a slowdown because they won't have all the staff and support. So it will slow down approvals, appraisals, certificate of eligibility requests. That's at DD 213.
Yeah, it's gonna be a mess, actually. Unless, I mean, and they're also suggesting that you go back in and check with your lender. Well, you'd have to be checking pretty quick because you only have today, right?
Yeah, the EPA will probably, they're going to shut down. So if you need wetlands determinations, this will probably be more for developers and if you want to get projects going, that sort of thing.
Or you're waiting on a project, though, that you just haven't gotten the word back.
Yeah.
You know, that'd be tough.
HUD programs. FHA will keep endorsing new single-family mortgage loans with the exceptions of products like home equity conversion mortgages and Title I loans. So if you've got an FHA loan in process, it's probably going to be okay from what we're hearing. And we have some in process.
We definitely do, yeah.
Now, I've got one where there's a VA assumable loan. Those take longer anyway because they only work on them on certain times of the month. And it's not so much VA that does it, it's the lender who created it. But I'm just wondering if those VA assumables, if they are going to take longer now. They used to take about 45 to 60 days. They're a good deal because you could assume a really good rate, but now what's going to happen, I wouldn't be surprised if that goes to 60 to 75 days.
So there is a good part of that HUD program also, is that say that you happen to have an REO or real estate owned property in your neighborhood that's being maintained, it will continue to be maintained during that time. So the grass shouldn't get knee high and all that kind of thing. Those properties will still be taken care of. Yeah. And they can become an eyesore if they're not. So.
There are provisions to what they call to protect the U.S. government. So if it's a property, they have funding for that. So it's when there's a shutdown, it's saying they don't have full funding to do everything, but they have funding to do some things. They will protect the government's interest in properties. The military can run. Lots of Postal Service, I guess, still runs, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Don't they? Yeah.
I don't know. I think it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I think everything just becomes a little bit awkward though, because you really don't know all the ins and outs, the delays, all the things that can happen.
It seems like we've been doing this far too many times. These shutdowns.
Yeah.
All they had to do is a continuing resolution, keep it going. They want to get back to normal order. I get that, but you don't have to stop everything because a lot of things are impacted. If you've got a real estate closing, and then, on the health side, a lot of things aren't going to happen there as well. So Medicaid, a lot of procedures may not happen. So it's really, I wish they wouldn't have these shutdowns.
Well, I don't think we get to control that, but I think another good part was about the disaster loans. So should there be a hurricane somewhere or whatever, all those things still remain in effect. So you're good on that end.
To a limit, but what if they run out of money? You've got to fund more and they're not able to do that. So let's hope there's no big disasters.
Well, we can hope for that. Obviously, we hope for that anyway. But we also hope that this doesn't take too long, right?
I think this could be a week or two, maybe 2-3 days. But yeah.
So many personalities today, though. So much dysfunction.
It is government.
Yeah.
And I don't care what year it is, if the government is at this much of an impasse to have a shutdown, it doesn't matter who's the president, who's in charge of Congress, they're at an impasse.
Right.
It means somebody wants something, somebody's not getting something, so they're going to fight about it for a while until they see one side's winning and one side's losing, and then they'll say, okay, let's get this thing started again. The only people that really suffer, though, is the people.
Yeah.
The people
Does it
like
help
us.
if we say, let's get this over with?
No.
No?
Sandy, you don't have that much clout.
Oh, I didn't think I did individually, but what about as all of us?
I mean, if we say it together,
Well, not even the two.
I think the
I
two
don't
of us
think
might
so.
have that much clout. I don't know.
I don't think so, Brad, but
No.
I'm thinking all of us.
Okay. All right. Well, enough of that. Anyway, that's our U.S. government shutdown, Gulf Coast Real Estate Insider podcast. You've got the latest on the shutdown, and we'll bring you more as more news becomes apparent. Thanks for tuning in.
The Ellis Team at Keller Williams is a family affair. Always call the Ellis Team, they'll handle you with care.